does it feel any different, like coming in this week now, knowing like, hey, we're going towards the regular season, we're focused on a specific opponent?
Yeah. The coaches were in yesterday. Obviously, we've done a lot of work in the off season, but this is the first real regular season week for us. So, I think everybody's excited and looking forward to our preparations here.
And then as far as playing the Cowboys, I'm curious, last year was your first year as a head coach in the division. What, if anything, did you learn that maybe you applied moving forward towards this season, either roster construction or just philosophically?
Yeah, those are conversations. We've had a lot of them throughout the off season, and we've worked to improve in certain areas. Obviously, you study the games that you play against the common opponents and against the team that you're playing here for the 2 times we played them. And there's a lot of work done. The first game of the NFL season, there's a lot of unknowns. Usually you have, a collection of film you can watch throughout, this season. And let's say, after week 3 or week 4, there's 3 or 4 games to lean on. So you do a lot of research, a lot of studying on really all the games. But it really comes down to your fundamentals, your techniques, your assignments, your communication, because you really, it's a little bit of the unknown. Obviously, Coach McCarthy has done a very good job there. He'll be calling plays. Brian Schottenheimer, a friend of mine who's their coordinator, and then obviously familiarity with Coach Fossil and Coach Quinn. And, they have really good players, some elite players, particularly at certain spots. And, it'll be a big challenge for us.
Anything stick out as a division as a whole?
Yeah, my focus is on this week. So, this is the most important game because it's the next one. So we have a lot of work to do, big week of preparation ahead of us, and we'll get started today.
Ryan Dunleavy.
Hey, Brian.
Hey, Ryan.
When I was growing up, I felt like the slot was like the third receiver and the third cornerback. When do you feel like that changed, and how much of an advantage of it is it to have a number 1 corner like Adoree who can go in the slot, especially in this matchup here where they play their number 1 receiver in the slot?
Well, I don't know how much it's really changed, Ryan. There's the game has changed. It's a little bit more of a spread game, so there's when you're recruiting college football, there's a little bit more receivers out there, some more DBs. The use of the spread offense has really, let's say the last 10 years or whatever, come into play quite a bit. But it's, it was there even before when they had Houston was running their stuff and Buffalo back in the day was running their stuff. Again, this is, God bless you, this is this is a game of matchups, obviously, in our league. So, if you play man-to-man, you decide, where you want to put the players. If it's zone, maybe you make it look like man, and vice versa. But I'd say that, it's with the game becoming more spread out, Ryan, the need for more corners and skilled players for the space element is important.
And then specific to Adoree, how much of an advantage is that for you guys that he is able to do that? Because talking to other DBs, not everybody can do that. So how much of an advantage is it to do that? And how much of that was done with the Cowboys and CD Lamb in mind?
Well, I'd say Adoree, last year we played, a lot of different coverages, and there's games that we matched where he played inside, maybe played outside. So he has position flexibility. We'll try to use him the best way we can. But again, they have a very good player that plays both inside and outside with CD, but they have some other, skill players that are going to be challenging. Really their entire package, all their skill guys, from their backs to the receivers to the tight ends. So. All of our guys are going to have to be ready to go with the assignments that we ask them to do.
And I'll take care of the injury report for everybody. Do you have any injury updates for us?
Yeah, no, that'll all come out Wednesday now since we're in regular season.
Okay.
Yep.
Kim Jones.
Hey, Dave, sorry about the sneeze.
That's okay.
I forgot to mute again. I didn't have a chance to mute. I wanted to ask you about Trey Hawkins. It's one thing that, Banks comes in first round, obviously, but for a guy from Old Dominion, to win a starting job as a cornerback in this league, and for you, what does that say about him?
Yeah, no, Trey's had a good camp. I think he's improved since he's been here. He's got the right mindset. It's early in his career, very early in his career, but he works hard. He understands our defense, and he'll have his challenges throughout the year. But he's done a good job with, again, what we're looking for in terms of his intelligence, his dependability, and he's earned his role relative to what we're going to ask him to do.
I have another question on a different topic, if I may, but
Sure.
If I can just follow up. You guys knew all of that when you drafted him, correct? In terms of the mental aptitude
Yeah.
of the game kind of thing.
Yeah, and I think, again, just credit goes to Joe and the scouting staff. We brought him in for a 30 visit, got to meet with him there, and you get, there's a long process relative to the evaluation part of it. And then once you get here, it really doesn't matter how you get here. Pre-agency, late pick, UDFA, high pick. It's all what you do when you're here. So, he's earned what he's got.
And with Hotties, are you a believer that a team needs kind of a guy like that who's willing to put at least a figurative hammer down in some situations?
Yeah, I would just say Hottie's a great teammate. I think everybody respects him. He brings a lot of juice to the meetings, to the practice field. He's an intelligent player. He's played in, Wink system. Understands the requirements of playing his spot. Knows multiple roles, but a very good team player. Glad we have him.
Thanks very much.
You got it.
Bob Brookover.
Brian,
Hey, Bob.
do you think there's more? Darius obviously showed a lot last year, given the situation at the start to where he finished.
Talking about? Did you say Slay? I'm sorry.
Yes.
Okay. Yep.
Do you think there's more in him in terms of what he's capable of being?
Yeah, no, he's, again, you talk about another good teammate. We've talked about the start that he had last year, and I'd say his ability to really just be laser focused on his job and improving every day, and he really helped us, throughout the season, and got him back, and he's been a very good teammate. I think he's improved in a number of areas, understands the system better, has some good leadership traits about him, particularly with some of those younger receivers, and happy to have him.
Without naming any names, have you seen guys who were put in a similar situation to Darius?
Yeah, I mean, sure. I mean, throughout my 23 years, I've probably a bunch, but I'd say that that mental toughness you have to have when everything's not going right. All of us, you're going to hit adversity, whether that's in a game, during a season, maybe play, and just to keep forging ahead with focus on the next play, the next day, trying to improve. That's not an easy thing to do, and you have a guy like Darius that did it last year and kind of went through some of the growing pains that he had, and but I've been around a significant amount of players. I've also been the other way where things got tough and it never came they never came out on the other end of it. So it's not just players. I'd say it's coaches. It's everybody within the organization. When you're getting ready to go through a long season, there's going to be bumps along the way. And your job is to try to stay committed to what your job is and do a better job and learn from the mistakes that you've made and just come out a little bit better each and every day.
And on Trey Hawkins, do you remember this was when you guys first realized, hey, we can go with what you're going to go with here with him as a starter on the outside, and how those conversations went? Yeah,
I just say, each and every day there's an evaluation throughout camp, from OTAs all the way through of basically how you perform on the field when you have an opportunity to perform. And I think, again, he's improved. Are you going to say he's there? No, he's a young player that has earned his role. So he's going to continue to work hard to try to get better. He has the right mindset, and that's what we hope for all our players.
Did it come up in OTAs, or was it not till training camp where it really came up?
Yeah. I'd say really OTAs is I know I mentioned OTAs. It's really OTAs. They're just trying to learn and get stuff down. So usually when the pads come on and you see it play in and play out, or day in and day out, and you see improvement, and you really can look at the skill set of the player and see how they're performing on a daily basis. But that's kind of what we preach is just focus on your job, do as well as you can do each day, and if you do that, then good things will happen for you.
And one last thing, I know you said it's not going to come out till Wednesday, but and I know it's probably late practice today, but did Paris take part today?
Yeah, we haven't been out there yet, but we should. Okay. Yeah, when we talk about, he'll be out there. Paris is fine.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, thanks.
You got it.
We'll take two more. Paul Schwartz.
Hey, Brian.
Hi, Paul.
Hey, when you look at the lineup you put on the field last year in your opener, and the one you'll put on the field, presumably this year in the opener, it's clear you guys, there's pretty dramatic changes, certainly at the linebacker position, that the wide receiver position, tight end is a little different, certainly. Can you talk about how, you guys maybe targeted some areas you felt you needed to improve, and what do you think the result is now? How much do you like this group you're going to start on Sunday night?
Yeah, I think, I think Joe said we'll see. I agree with him. Again, you until you get out there and you start playing the games, you find out what you have. But I don't go too much other than evaluate the tape because, and you've done this a long time, Paul. I don't think there's ever been the same team, the last 20 years that there was the year before. So we're different. The team we're playing is different. Obviously, there are some pieces that are still in both spots. The play caller is different on their side, and there's so many different changes. And each year is such a unique challenge and unique in its of itself. So, this is a new season, and we'll put our guys out there and try to have a great week of preparation and practice and make sure we're dialed into the game plan and get ready to play an outstanding opponent.
Initially, obviously, you don't know what's going to happen, but initially, when you look at what you did and what you have on paper, do you look at it and say, okay, on offense, I think we can be more explosive, and on defense, I think we're more fortified, on the inside linebacker spot to be more competitive there?
Yeah, I'd say the goal every year is to improve, whether that's by personnel or by scheme or how you do things structurally. But our focus is just each day try to get a little bit better. It's an important day for us today. It's really the introduction to their team and to their team what it is this year and to their additions. They got Cook, they got Gilmore, they got some new draft. Like there's quite a bit of changes. Even if it's 20-30% of it, it's still different. So we got our work cut out for us, and that's where our focus is.
Thank you.
You got it.
Last one, Tom Canavan.
Hey, Brian. How you doing?
Good, Tom. How are you?
Good. You may have answered this question in talking to Paul a second ago, but Joe last week said a lot that he sees from last season to this season as closing the gap. Do you look at it that way, or is this simply another game and you go from there?
I look at it as it's our next opponent. It's our first opponent, obviously, of the season in the regular season, and all of our work and what we're doing has to be focused on our stuff and making sure that we're locked into what we're doing, and then understanding the opponent that we're playing. And it's the most important game because it's the next one.